In the last part, Lloyd was finally able to get Solitas to work for him as the poop incinerator. We see Solitas at the dwarf's workshop. Lloyd tells the master builder Corgidus about his situation and asks him to teach Solitas how to make fine jewels. And as Corgidus teaches him how to make the jewel in return, Solitas has to burn down the sludge within the excretion facilities once a day. Solitas did not like this idea and thinks of rejecting it. Lloyd tells him it must be hard on him to clean the poop as he was a mighty dragon, and tells him that he forced him to sign the contract so he can learn to make the best handicrafts in the world and get married as soon as possible, and to do so he has to keep his pride aside. Solitas did not have any other option, so he accepts Corgidus as his master and asks him to fix his cursed hands. Corgidus too accepts him as his student and warns him that he might get a little harsh on him. Solitas has a firm resolve and was ready to take on anything. Corgidus angrily yells at him and asks him to bring the materials to him. Solitas was shocked and in tears. Corgidus yells at him and makes him do his chores. Corgidus teaches him handicrafts and beat him as he makes any mistake. Some shards of crystals were thrown by them, and Lloyd collects them and thinks of selling them and getting some money. The system informs him that he has changed another tragic fate into something positive. And we come to know that, in the novel, Solitas lost his horns and suffered fatal injuries before returning to the den where he died all alone. Lloyd did not know about this tragic ending and is relieved. The Count was happy and out of the debt. Also, Julian was now being acknowledged as the best student in the school. And it was impossible if it weren't for Lloyd, who saved them from tragic endings. Lloyd thinks a bit and asks the system to reward him for his work. The system tells him that he has to earn his own money. Lloyd was on the top of the mountain and thinks he must upgrade his skill to get a better field of vision. He uses his RP points to upgrade his skill and upgrades it to advanced design. He gets another option. He received the skill named Construction Guideline. He was curious about it and the system tells him to use it. As Lloyd used the skill, the hologram vanished, and he was shocked as he saw his blueprint was now huge. The system informs him that the hologram can be seen by everyone working on the project. Lloyd was shocked to see such a powerful skill. He thinks to make use of this skill right away. Lloyd used the skill on the ground and asks Javier to dig the place. As Javier digs the place, the green light followed the path, and Lloyd asks him to dig outside the green zone. As Javier digs outside the green zone, there is a red light and a hologram. Lloyd swears at him and tells him to do a proper job. Javier was disgusted by the hologram and tells him to rest assured, as people will be extra careful while working as they will not want to see that face. Javier leans towards Lloyd and asks him how did he do something like that. Javier was skeptical of Lloyd. Lloyd was confused and tries to come up with something, but Javier tells him to wear a necklace around him to show people, and he will also say the same thing. Lloyd was surprised and asked him if he had any other questions. Javier tells him that his curiosity is not important now and that it was important for him to save everyone in the county. Lloyd assures him that he will keep that in mind and thanks him for believing him. We see Sir Byron instructing all the men to build the sewer and cheering them up so they are all motivated. Lloyd and Javier were seeing them from some distance. Lloyd asks Javier why are they acting crazy all of a sudden. Lloyd explains to them how the sewage system is going to be. Lloyd thinks that Padong is capable to dig all the small sewer pipes alone, but he will not be enough to dig the mains tunnel. And we see Bangul cheering up Byung-in. He was able to get access to the hidden power of love. Lloyd uses him, and as the worker makes a mistake, Lloyd's hologram comes up and threatens him. But instead of fearing it, everybody starts to like it, and all of them started to trigger the hologram purposely. Lloyd was agitated by this and yells at them. Lloyd asks Javier if they are acting even crazier than before. After a few days, the sewer-making process was going on smoothly. Lloyd explained to Sir Byron how they were going to set up the plant. Sir Byron tells him that was the place where the mastodons lived, but Lloyd assures him that they won't attack as they have Byung on their side, and tells him to take care of this situation by himself. The construction was carried out smoothly, but there was not a single mastodon seen in that place. Lloyd thought that it was due to Byung. Lloyd played red light and green light all by himself like a lunatic. He was approached by Padong, who seemed very sad. Padong tells him that there is a strange occurrence at the construction site. As Lloyd reached the site, he makes his way through the crowd and is shocked to see the dead mastodon. He inspects the body and realize that it was not from that long ago. Also, it looks like someone killed and buried it. He tries to figure it out, but he is interrupted by Byung. He informs Lloyd that there are more of them buried there. Lloyd asks all the workers to dig at the site, and they are shocked to see dozens of mastodons buried there. He tries to figure out and realize something similar happened in the novel, in the Namarin's barrier arc, where black magic appeared for the first time. There is some type of energy surge from the dead bodies, and everybody is shocked. Lloyd quickly tells everyone to get far away from here. And a huge blast takes place. The flames were heading towards Lloyd, and he tries to block it by using mana blasts, but Byung takes all the damage on himself. Lloyd was really worried about Byung. Here, Solitas was working on his handicraft skills, and he noticed some black magic and thinks of going to save him. But he sees Javier rushing towards the place and is assured that there was no need for him to worry, and continues his work. Here, Byung was on the ground critically damaged, and we see the soldiers are scared of seeing something at a distance. As the smoke clears out, we see a huge army of undead mastodons rushing toward them. Lloyd picks up Byung from the ground, as hundreds of mastodons rush towards them. Lloyd ordered everyone to run away. Blanc tells the White Cavalry that this is going to be their last day, and motivates them to fight for Frontera County. Lloyd stops them and ordered them to retreat. As they were running, Lloyd asks Sir Byron where are they, little mastodons. Byron tells him that there is one in the field. Lloyd calls for Podong for help, and Podong rushed toward the mastodons in order to stop them. Podong uses his skill and fights all the mastodons just like a kung fu hamster. Lloyd was shocked and confused when he learned such flash moves. Soon Podong was outnumbered and exhausted. As he struggled to beat the undead mastodons, he was completely overpowered by them. Lloyd yells at the undead, and we see Lloyd was holding a little mastodon hostage and licks as if he was going to eat it. Lloyd mocks them and bites him. The undead mastodons were agitated and rushed to save the little mastodon. Lloyd was successful in getting their attention, and carried the little mastodon on his back and started to run for his life. Soon Podong joins in and Lloyd orders him to take them to the forest at the end of the valley. The soldiers were having mixed feelings as they were once again being saved by Lloyd. In the forest, we see Goming chilling, but soon he is grabbed by Javier. He asks him if he can take him 10 kilometers north. Here, Podong was exhausted and soon the undead mastodons caught up with them. Lloyd used his mana blast to attack one of the creatures. As he attacked it, the creature exploded. But there were just too many of them. Podong was frightened and stops as they were at a dead end. Lloyd was scared as the mastodons approached him from behind. Lloyd used his simulation skill, and was sure that Podong will be unable to climb above. He was confused. He calms himself down and moves forward to face the undead. Lloyd orders Podong to stay near the wall as much as possible. He spun his shovel, uses the triple mana core blast attack, and missed it purposefully. The shovel falls down, and soon Lloyd was on his knees too. Lloyd uses his supercharged skill, and absorbs all the mana from the surrounding. Lloyd gets up and just absorbs the mana from the mastodons. We see Lloyd and Javier on the training ground, and Lloyd shows his triple mana core blast to him. Lloyd used all his energy due to which he falls to the ground. Lloyd then uses his supercharged skill in trying to concentrate the mana extraction from Javier alone. Lloyd thinks he was successful to be able to absorb mana from Javier, but the screen tells him that type of mana is not something his lowly body can handle, and Lloyd starts to vomit blood and falls back on the ground. Javier was confused and asks Lloyd if he was doing well. But today he used the supercharged skill to absorb only the mana from the undead mastodons. The system tells him that he has exceeded the amount of mana he can absorb. Also, his man heart is being forcefully expanded. And soon he receives a large amount of skill EXP. He pushed himself and tries to absorb more mana. The mana heart received damage, but the strong mana he absorbed is used back to heal his mana heart. After a few cycles of damaging and healing his mana heart, Lloyd was able to level up his skill. And now he was a sword expert. He picks up his shovel and gets ready to fight the undead. The system informs that he has a new mana heart skill. Lloyd was in a rage. He orders all the undead to kneel, and strangely all the mastodons kneel before him. Podong was surprised at what just happened right now. Lloyd feeds him a blue almond, and he is back to normal size. The screen told him that he will be able to dominate and control any undead with lesser mana than him. Lloyd steps on the mastodons and starts to move to safety like a boss. The screen tells him that his skill will be invoked only when he faced the undead. As Lloyd looks behind, he saw many mastodons have regained consciousness and were getting ready to fight Lloyd. And soon the system displays a timer telling him how much time he has before the control over the undead ends. As soon he saw the timer, Lloyd starts to run for his life. Soon the time ends, and Lloyd is surrounded by the mastodons. Lloyd grabs the little mastodons trying to save him. As they attack Lloyd, he is saved by Javier, who has arrived at the spot with Goming. Javier draws his aura sword and asks Goming to move forward. Goming was too lazy to move, but as soon he heard Padong, he had no chance but to move. Javier breaks the side of the valley to bury all the undead but forgets to let Lloyd up on the ride. Lloyd kept on hanging all this time. Javier was successful in burying the undead, but a huge blast takes place. Lloyd was shocked to see such mass destruction. All of them stopped by a hill, and Lloyd thanked Javier for saving his life. Javier was angry with Lloyd as he always puts his life in danger for others' sake, and tells him that he must cherish his life more as all the countless people in the county are counting on him. Lloyd asks him what if he didn't save all the workers there. Javier tries to explain to him that is not what he meant, but Lloyd tells him that he has to do this or everybody will be in danger. Javier tells him it was not necessary for him to fight alone as he had many allies now. Javier asks him if he plans to do so in the future too. Lloyd tells him he will do it anyways as he wanted to take some risk to make money. Javier was agitated but lets it go and tells Lloyd that he will always be by his side. The system informs Lloyd that Javier's affinity towards Lloyd has increased for the first time, and as a reward, he received 270 RP points. Also, Javier's reading for Lloyd has increased, and now he was not a person just to protect, but he respected him. The system tells Lloyd that Javier has promised that he will be willing to die instead of him if he was on the verge of death. Lloyd was happy and tells Javier that he knew what he was thinking. Lloyd tries to figure out who was the one behind all his ruckus caused by the undead mastodons. He thinks that a necromancer should have used his black magic and tells Javier to find some clues about who was behind the incident. Lloyd had a hunch about this from the novel and swears that he will make the one behind this take the responsibility for the damage. All the workers are working hard to find the clues. Lloyd tells Javier that they cannot resume construction as it will be dangerous to dig the ground recklessly. One of the soldiers came by and informs Lloyd that Count Cremo has come to pay a visit to the county. At the Count's mansion we see, Count Cremo was there to ask Lloyd for a marriage. Lloyd tells Cremo that he was not his type. Cremo explains to him that he was here for his daughter's marriage. Cremo tells him that he thought Lloyd has become so famous suddenly, and he wondered if there would ever be a person better than him to become his son-in-law. He was sure that there must be tons of nobles who wanted to make him their son-in-law, so he approached his so quickly. Lloyd tries to explain to him that there was no such proposal for him, but Count Frontera calls him and shows all the proposal letters to him. Lloyd was shocked to see so many of them. Cremo tells Lloyd that they are all insincere, and he should not think of them, he should just marry his daughter. Lloyd asks Cremo for his forgiveness and declines his offer. Cremo tells him that he must marry now as he was already 27 and was still a bachelor. That's why people have started to think there is something wrong with Lloyd. Javier was trying to keep himself from laughing and started to shake as he struggled to do so. We see that Cremo's daughter was also there. She was all pale. She introduced herself to them and tells Lloyd that she is willing to sacrifice her body for the sake of the family's advancements. Lloyd was depressed as he knew she did not want to get married to him. Javier was now using his mana trying not to laugh and was struggling really hard. The Count tells Cremo to respect his daughter's wishes and not just trade her for fame. Cremo was convinced, and Cremo tells his daughter that he was sorry for making her sad for the sake of their family status. She was overjoyed by his words and hugs him. Count Cremo thanks the Frontera family for reuniting him with his daughter, and everyone cheers "Let's live with love." Lloyd was sitting on the sofa, depressed and thinking if it was a happy ending not to be married. Lloyd looks at Javier, and he was really trying hard not to laugh. He struggled even more than he was when he fought the Gigatitan. In the end, rejections were sent to all the political marriage requests. At the royal court, the informer tells the queen that Lloyd has declined all the marriage requests. The queen expected this, as if Lloyd accepted the proposal the lady will just reject him, as he just looked like a potato. and the queen starts to laugh uncontrollably. She orders the royal servant to cook her some potatoes for the dinner, and was really curious about who will Lloyd marry. She asks the royal messenger if they will have someone to visit Asfahan to know more about the monster Domino. She thinks for a while and orders the messenger to send Lloyd to Asfahan. At the county, we see Lloyd has found a goat head at the incident site, and Sir Byron informs him that this has to do something with the incident. Lloyd inspects the goat's head and realizes that the pattern was on the flag of the kingdom with the Empress that turned dark. He thinks about it but is not sure as things have changed from the original timeline, so the future will be altered. He suspected the dark sorcerer Cannavaro, as he was the one that deployed the Namarin's barrier and drove everyone towards death. Lloyd tells Sir Byron to resume the construction work and take care of all the problems, as he will be away for some work. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.